Howdy YouTube, today we're taking a look at the Apex Replicas 1/18 scale from Dick Johnson Racing, Team Penske. We've got the 2015 Ford FGX Falcon driven by the one and only Marcus Ambrose. A cool looking model, one that I was not all that keen to pick up, if I'm completely honest. The main reason I did end up getting it is because my local model car shop had a 20% off sale, and I was able to pick this up for really cheap, around $130, which I think is a really good price for a V8 supercar model, and especially a Ford one. For some reason, the Ford models tend to be a little bit more pricey on the collector's market on sites like eBay and things like that. So to get it for that price, I'm quite happy. Does it have a lot of significance, the car? Not necessarily. I mean, yes, it is the return car for Marcus Ambrose, but really, what was the return? He came back, did a few races, and then mysteriously left for no good reason, much the same as Jacques Villeneuve did with his V8 supercar run. So, I mean, it is what it is. A little disappointing, to be completely honest. Team Penske, I absolutely love. Obviously, in the Indy Car Championship, they're my team, with great drivers that they've had in the past and present as well, like Castro Neves, who's a top steerer, Ryan Briscoe, of course, Will Power. So I'm a big fan of Team Penske, always giving the Aussies a chance, which is excellent. The model itself, the picture of the model makes it look like it is a fluoro orange kind of color, a little bit like a darker version of the old Vodafone sponsorship. From memory, the actual thing is red, so I'm interested to see what it looks like out of the packaging. Apex Replicas, I mean, they do a good job based on my prior experience. They're not the same level as, say, a Bianchi, but you do get a nice budget model, if that makes sense. The doors won't open or anything like that. The wheels will spin but not turn, and you won't be able to open the bonnet or boot or anything like that. So with that, let's get this car opened up and out of packaging. Okay, so here we've got the car opened up and out of packaging, and honestly, it is a seriously cool looking car. Full props to Apex for this model. It looks really nice. Red to me is not a Ford color. Ford should not be red, but on this it works quite well. Penske, I guess, has that red color scheme as well, so it fits in. Shell sponsorship. The car looks really nice. I can't knock it. The V8s, I think, are some of the toughest, coolest looking race cars on the planet. And what's a good indication of that as well is if you've played the Xbox game, and subtle reference to the sponsorship as well, I suppose, the Forza series, they have the V8 supercars in there, and those cars stack up when you play. Now, obviously, it's a video game, extremely well to a lot of the other, DTM and British touring cars that are on there. As far as the series, I think it is one of the best racing series on earth. Better than Formula One, better than sports car racing, which I enjoy a lot more. But the racing and the caliber of racing in V8s, they've got a great formula. It's entertaining to watch. It's exciting. It's always close racing. You never have one person just dominating, which you did have at one point with Jamie and everything like that. I think it's great that Frosty was able to win the championship last year. And I'm going to have a little bit of a rant on Ford. So here you have this car. I like the design. I love the Mustang type front. I think that's very cool indeed. But Ford just lack that initiative that you get with Holden. Holden obviously have the dealer team. They sponsor Red Bull to some extent. They've got some involvement. Now, obviously, that's winding back. With Ford, it's kind of like V8s are their black sheep. They want nothing to do with it. They don't want to fund a factory team. You've got ProDrive Racing Australia, which was the Ford factory team, but because they're not getting any money and there's a naming rights dispute there, the whole thing is a bit of a mess. So it is a real shame. Personally, I would love, or I think it would be good for fans and for the sport if Penske got that deal. In the US, he's a massive purchaser and supplier of Ford trucks. So there's a link there. And if he was sponsored by Ford USA, I think that would be really cool because it shows an international interest in the sport, but also just has a factory Ford team there that fans can get behind. And that's something that I think Ford are really missing. In terms of the car itself, I mean, it looks really nice. I'll bring it around so you guys can take a look at some of the other camera angles as well. And here we've got a shot of the front of the car. I love this grille. I think this design for the Ford is really awesome. Prior to this though, Ford, and again, I'm having a bit of a rant, I'm a big Ford fan, but they just have a lack of innovation and it really shows. They come across as very cheap. And again, I'm a die-hard Ford fan, but when it comes to making road cars and designs and innovation and things like that, Holden destroy Ford. You take a look at the prior to this, the previous shape. The previous shape looked only slightly different to the shape before that, which looked slightly different, and by slightly I mean a little flick down of the headlights, to the shape before that. And I'll give you an example. My dad, who is a die-hard Ford fan, had a 2001 Falcon Ute. The shape did not change significantly until 2013, 2014. So over 10 years, the Ford looked relatively the same. Compare that to Holden, which was constantly updated and changed within, a 3, 4, 5 year stretch, yes. But you compare the new Fords to the new Holdens. The new Holdens come across very European, high quality. The interiors are outstanding. The design, I think, looks really good. Great technology, great features. It just makes the Fords look primitive. And it pains me to say that because I am such a big Ford fan. And I'll give you another example in a little bit when I bring in some of the other V8 supercar models. And then we've got the car from a different angle as well. Now, hopefully this comes across okay, but look, for argument's sake, at a 2007 Ford and a 2013. You've got a slight difference on the grille and a very slight difference on the headlights. Other than that, it's pretty much the same shape. Then you get to 2015 with this awesome looking Mustang front. That is beautiful. Definitely a big fan of the new design. And just for comparison, you've got the new Ford with the old Ford. Okay, so what do I think of this car? Overall, as a model, I think it is outstanding. Why did I go with this? They did have the Pepsi Max factory Ford team version of this car as well. Why did I choose this one over that? Mainly because it's something different. It is a really cool looking model. I do have pretty much all the other Pepsi Max factory Ford cars because that is my team. But Apex did a great job with this model. Now, I did make a mistake earlier when I said the wheels turn. They don't actually rotate, but they do swivel like so. It is a cool looking model. It's interesting to see Ford in red. So on that basis, it does make it a little bit different, a little bit more unique. If you are a big V8 supercars fan and a collector, I think you have to get this model. And the reason for that is that Ambrose, even though his comeback was not very good, it's significant in that it was the debut car for the Penske DJR team. And it's significant in that it was driven by one of the all-time great V8 supercar drivers, Ambrose, who really dominated back in 2004-05, around that era, before moving and doing really well internationally as well. So on that basis, I would recommend this model. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review on the 2015 DJR Team Penske Ford Falcon.